today. Sorry, I forgot to press recording. Probably nothing to record at this rate. I don't want to record my grunts and groans. No, so it hasn't been overly hot. I mean, it's been high 20s, early 30s, okay, which it is hot. That to me is hot, but it's not the hot that we were talking about where it was over 40, okay. And so, but yeah, and my pot plants aren't looking great, and you know, I can't talk to them anymore. I say to them, you know, can't you just water yourselves? You know, the garden's all right because it's got a sprinkler system, so and that's on a timer, so that's fine. But all the pots, I think I should just move all the. Well, a lot of them I can't. They're attached to the fence, and also I can't pick up anything heavy. Some of the pots are quite big. Yeah, you know it. So there's my sad story. What is your
well, that's
story?
no good. I'm hoping that you have a, or at least the pain goes away. That's the starting point, isn't it? You know, so
that is the starting point, yeah. But even before I had the pain, you know, it's because of the heat and so on, I was still at this time of the day feeling buggered, feeling really hectic, but so be it. Yeah.
you know, when we were talking on Sunday, we were sort of saying, oh, that Kiev is in Russia. It's actually in the Ukraine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been looking. I've just turned on the news now, the 7 News, just to see the headlines, and they're still blaming each other pending attack. Okay, Russia and the UK and America.
Doesn't look very good, does it?
You know, hell, man. Ilana
I know they have lots of saber rattling and stuff like that, but anyway, it's just
yeah, but you know, Ilana sent me some of the interpretations of the local newspapers and so on.
Oh, did she? Oh, so she's been in contact.
Yes, regularly on a daily basis now since we spoke about it. You know, I went and she sent me links to, but it was all in a foreign language, and I couldn't fathom out what the words meant on the page in order to get an interpretation into English. It wasn't obvious. So
yeah.
She just did it and copied and pasted it to me. A couple of newspaper articles and talking also about the history and looking at things, you know, quite objectively. But you know, it still shows that we're just not getting what is being published in the local newspapers. Okay, we're just not getting that same story. So just wait and see.
It is fairly dire though, isn't it? You know, like that's well, I'm never going to believe what you see here, I guess, but all the indications are is that, you know, everyone's primed, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Some European countries are mobilizing and sending aircraft. Others are sending aircraft carriers. Australia's recalled its embassy staff. So we'll just see what happens. Okay. I just hope it isn't a smokescreen for China to make some moves of some description. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's interesting times, that's for sure. Strange energy about at the moment, really, isn't there? You know, really.
Yeah.
Quite peculiar, I think, in some ways, but maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the peculiar one. Who knows?
Yeah, no, there are some peculiar things, particularly, you know, if you, as I said last time, I don't do a lot of alternative like I used to a year ago. I'm just not in the right frame of mind, but I try and listen to any video that Simon Parkes brings out, and I listen to that. And I told you about it on Sunday, you know, when you know, the White House had some explosions underneath it, and there's some things that happened deep in the earth that were blown up, and some of the things in the UK that have happened, you know, all sort of leaning towards there is some positive movement, but nothing like we'd expected a year ago or whenever Trump left office, you know. So I'm not over enthralled with the progress, if you like. But all we can do is wait and watch.
It's kind of weird, you know, because like when you look at some of that mainstream media, some of the reports on there are quite. I mean, it's not news. It's not news. You know, it's just.
Like and they repeat the same images all the time, day after day after day.
Well, it was sort of funny because just before I logged in, I just had a quick look, and there was one there. This guy that reckons is back from the future, back from 2028. And he's posting all his videos where he's the only one around. Like he goes to all these different cities. Don't know how he gets there, but anyway. And there's no people anywhere, just him.
Just him. Okay. So what he's saying is that you know, some type of bomb is going to and take out all the people and not the buildings.
Well, yeah, presumably.
Yeah,
because there was no damage to anything. It was just deserted.
Yeah, that could be EMF from atomic bombs exploded in the atmosphere or in space or just low space. What was that book that somebody wrote about that? Where there were some survivors, but everywhere they went, you know, all the cars were there, all the everything material was there except the people. What book was it called?
Well, that's what these videos were like. That's what these videos were like. It was just no one around.
I remember reading it, and I think, you know, he was sort of, it was based somewhere, I think North America or getting into Canada even, but that was many, many years ago. Can't for the life of me think what it was called. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it just makes for interesting discussion and thoughts. Okay, and I guess time travel is definitely something that is possible, but it's also
so it sort of brought to mind for me. It was sort of like, I don't know why I thought of it, but the question was like, how do you differentiate between a dream and reality?
Yeah.
Because when you're in the dream, it is your reality, isn't it? You know, so
yeah, like metaverse. Yeah. Yeah, you're quite right. But you know, if we're not going to be here, then we're not going to be here. Okay. Jeez. Meet you somewhere else.
Well, that's the thing, you know. That's the certainty of it all, is that if it's not here, it will be somewhere else. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yes, it will. Yeah, we'll just see. But let me pose you a question. Okay. Okay. Let's, and it's also interesting. I think that's what made me think about it. You've got I think it looks like a black T-shirt, and I've got a white T-shirt on. Okay.
Black T-shirt, yes, with
Pink Floyd. Okay. And a white T-shirt. And now, if you had to describe something as it, okay, and that it can be anything that you like, okay, but it's, you know, it's something sort of like really big, and it could be black or white, okay. In other words, it could be good or bad, okay. And you had to defend yourself against it. Okay. Let's assume it was black. That'll probably make it easier, I think, with the thinking process. So it is black. It is darkness. Black represents, and it is just everything negative and satanic and so on. You were now confronting it. Let's say on behalf of the planet, if you like to make it big, and then how would you fight it? That's the question. Okay. And let me say, I don't have any answers. Okay, I'm thinking as I'm asking the question, just sort of, I don't know, came across my thinking.
How do you fight it?
How do you fight it? How do you destroy it?
That's a good question.
That's just because you can't answer it. My thoughts are, you would fight it with light. Okay, and that's what I was thinking of when I saw us. Now, I've got a black background, okay, and this white T-shirt, and you've got a black T-shirt on, or something similar to black. And you know, no matter what you throw at darkness or blackness or satanic or evil in the three-dimensional world, it's going to always win. Okay, I think, I'm just thinking aloud now. Whereas if you fight it with light, okay, try and turn that darkness, that absolute blackness of evil, try and turn it into light. If it turns into light, then you've won the war. You understand what I'm thinking?
Yeah, I understand your argument. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I guess that's really what is happening right now on planet Earth, okay, in the third dimension, is that the black, the black entities, if you like, which represent the satanic entities, and at all sorts of different levels, are actually in control. Okay, and it doesn't matter if Russia and the Ukraine and the other states nearby come in and they fight and they obliterate each other. They're only serving the darkness. They're only serving the blackness. They're only serving the satanic forces. Okay. So, and it's just going to make it worse physically for mankind. Okay, regardless of the outcome. Okay, because there'll be plenty of people dying as they are now. There are plenty of people starving and other reasons for their death. Okay, COVID, I guess, is one of them too. But if we had the ability to fight with light, okay, then light wouldn't allow anybody to die. Okay, it wouldn't be like another weapon where you're fighting, because what you're doing, you're changing the energy level that permeates everything on the planet, including the black hats and their demonic practices and greed and torture and stuff that goes with the pain that goes with it as well.
So when you say light, do you mean love?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? I don't have any preconceived answers. I just think that when you talk about You know, and you know, witches and witchcraft and all that stuff is always represented as blackness, black robes and fire and all. But when you think of whiteness, okay, you think of angels, you think of an energy that's enlightened. So yeah, so you almost like have to wrap them in that, and for me, the word love is it's people mutilate that word love, and they use the word. Okay, I think, you know, my question probably goes beyond the word. Okay, and maybe that's why I subconsciously chose the word light, because, you know, darkness and lightness, night and day, you know, it's different to love and hatred, or love and whatever else. It's the opposite. Anyway, that's my thought for the day.
It's an interesting thought, you know, because I mean, the thing that comes to mind for me is when you talk about, you know, black.
Yeah.
You know, black just absorbs everything. It doesn't give anything back. It just takes everything. Whereas white, on the other hand, reflects everything and doesn't take anything in.
Interesting thought.
In terms of the colors. But then the other thing that sort of came to mind while you were talking there was, I was just sort of thinking of the likes of like Gandhi and Thich Nhat Hanh and maybe Mandela, and those, as to how they fought their darknesses as well. And they didn't fight in an overt sense. It was, how would you describe it? It was
their presence permitted for countries outside of their body. There was light that was radiating, energies that was radiating out, and you know, as I'm sure, you know, all the other people that you and I talk about currently that are incarnated also. You know, so I think they, in a way, that's how they're fighting. They being who they are, and just being present on Earth, you know, makes an enormous big difference. But they can't change anything other than people's minds, maybe, okay, or people's energies. And so, you know, that I guess has been happening and is happening.
Well, it's probably one way of looking at it is it's a steadfast dedication, commitment to truth, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. And, you know, absolutely that dedication to truth within oneself. Okay, not necessarily teaching it. Okay, yeah, but that's what it is. Okay,
so the dark forces, their main weapon is separation, isn't it? Separation, isolation, you know.
Yeah,
those sorts of things, isn't it?
And
fear,
and taking things in, the black forces. Okay, and what better than materialism and owning things and stuff, you know, bringing that in. It's so easy to get somebody converted, if you like, or persuaded, or just happen naturally to want more and more and more. Okay, as you say, black absorbs. I think that's a really good thought. Yeah, so that's how the black hats fight their war. Okay.
And even when you sort of sit there and really look at it, you know, like this issue about, you know, collection of material things, you know, like, it's ridiculous. Like, Why would you do it?
Mm,
Yeah, you think about a lot of the indigenous peoples and that everything is done for the collective benefit.
mm,
You don't take more than you need, but everything is done for the collective benefit. There's no, you know, no Rothschild in the tribe,
right, right. Yeah.
in that sense, everyone has a role to play and everyone's accountable and responsible, but it's for the collective benefit.
Right, right.
Whereas, consumerism or capitalism or, any of those things, it's all for the benefit of a few.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. And we don't even know who those few are, other than, really.
No, but it's interesting how it's sort of permeated down to like the smallest enterprise, that if I'm the employer and you're the employee, then somehow I'm better than you.
Mm, mm, mm.
Why? Oh,
Yeah,
because I'm the entrepreneur, I'm the risk taker, whatever.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
ain't doing nothing without the people working. So
yeah. Being Australia Day, one of the guides on the East Coast had a class which they asked Sue and I just to join in, sort of, I guess, celebrating Australia Day. And there was one person there that was quite aggressive about people not knowing the history of the Aboriginals, okay, and what the white people did to the constantly for hundreds of years, okay, how they slaughtered them, took their kids away, didn't allow them access to education and all sorts of things. I mean, she just went on and on and on, okay, and so, it's interesting. I mean, I didn't particularly enjoy it. It was news to me. I didn't know all the stuff that she sprouted out, and I didn't think necessarily it was appropriate. But regardless, it was said, and I listened to it. And now, those people that did that, and the country, okay, because it was the government that most of the time was doing it. Historically, you obviously know the history. I assume most, I don't know if Australians do, or whether they're brainwashed into a much more cleaner type of history. But the country and the people have to suffer karma. Okay, there has to be retribution, and they're having forgiveness days and things like that, and that's always a step in the right direction, I get. But then they've never had, let's say like South Africa, a reconciliation process, okay, where you come front to front with the person who killed your ancestors or your people or whatever. So I was thinking this morning that, I wonder how that is going to happen, how that's going to work out, how's the retribution going to work out, because it has to. And that, made me think about what's happening now, up north there, and with the armies. One doesn't really know the history of, or the karma, let's say, that's probably easier to say, the karma that those countries have to iron out. When you think of the region, like the Russian region and so on, and you go back hundreds and hundreds of years, it's just war after war after war after war. Okay, something's got to happen. Maybe it's so bad that it's they've got to become extinct or something. I'm not sure, unless somebody comes in and forgives them and says, let's look at the past and let's deal with it as best we can, or something like that. I don't know.
It sort of almost smacks of, I don't know if this is the right word, but almost like tribalism, doesn't it? Like the, the Genghis Khan, was all about building the empire through conquering others, and
Yeah, and through a lot of cruelty.
mm, mm, as you know, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not that any war isn't cruel. I mean, the First World War was just as cruel as some of the ones that went preceded it. Okay. So yeah. So, how do you and I look at it? Okay. We have to look at it, in my opinion, that's the question that I was asking, is how do you fight it? How do you support the events like Russia and Ukraine now, and Europe? And it's through whiteness, through understanding, and of the karmic events that take place that have to be unfolded. And you can break that karma only, and here I do use the word that you used, through love. Okay, saying, okay, but that means the other one's got to sit down and say, well, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's leave Ukraine alone, and let it become independent. But NATO wants Ukraine on their side, okay, very strongly. And so Russia doesn't want NATO to get the Ukraine. So, they want to bring it back. Okay. So I don't think
but
that's...
violence and conflict is woven into the very fabric of humanity, though, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We've talked about this before, about when you look at businesses, it's always about defeating and winning and obliterating the competition and first mover advantages and all of this sort of stuff. So the whole mindset is that's how you get ahead. That's progress. Survival of the fittest. That sort of mindset.
We've often asked that, you and I, is when is that going to change? Now, there are a lot of let's call them white t-shirt people in Alatra, okay, doing a lot of good and spreading all sorts of good deeds and participation and waking people up, and so forth. So that could be one way. But also, when you spoke about this fellow that's come back from 2028, then another way is total destruction of humanity or humans off the planet through virus or through EMP? Anyway, when a bomb explodes in the atmosphere, and then people just get taken out and not things. And maybe there'll always be some stragglers. So maybe we've got to start civilization all over again. Okay. And maybe it'll take 1,000 years to sort of get to a point where we, start digging up and saying, wow, look at this. Let's unravel what was built here back in 2022. They must have been quite clever. And, and so, we have that repetition, okay, which has clearly happened in the past. Okay.
Well, that's right. Not only with humans, but you look at the dinosaurs and stuff like that as well. Those sort of big extinction events.
Yeah, and and also the giants as well. We mentioned them last
exactly.
And we're looking at these rooms and these buildings that the giants built, just remnants, little bits and pieces that are left. We can't comprehend it. So, at the moment, I guess it looks like there's not enough whiteness generating around the planet. Okay, there's perhaps more intent than there is actual actions. And I think Elytra is trying to change it, and other organizations. I mean, like Simon Parks.
But that's the nub of the issue, though, is that, you know, there's this sort of view that something has to be done. And I wonder about that too. Like, yes, something has to be done in the sense of, you know, a wide scale waking up and seeing things as it really is. But that as an outcome, what does that result from? Does it result from people doing things? You know, and then the reason I asked that is that, you know, I remember reading a story around when the British Empire was in complete control of India. And part of that British Empire thing is that they taxed everything, you know, so it was just revenue and so on. And so the tax collector comes into this village and says, you know, here to collect the taxes out of the, and they used to typically collect it out of the temples as the gathering points. And come in and say, so what's that person doing over there? And they said, he's doing nothing. Well, why are you feeding him? Like, what's the point of, you know, he's a drain on the taxes of the empire. So why are you feeding him? Or because he does nothing. But well, if he's doing nothing, then you shouldn't be feeding him. You know, he needs to make a contribution like everyone else. And I said, oh, no, but that's what he does. He does nothing. You know, and like, obviously I didn't understand it, sort of thing. So, and that doing nothing was, in fact, doing everything. You know, in the sense that, you know,
sure,
you know, no barriers, complete connection, and, you know, dissolved within. And I've pondered the question myself many times too. Is like, and we've talked about it on it. Was, well, what do we do? What do we do? And I think the doing, and I'm sort of speculating a little bit out loud, but I think the doing is internal doing, not so much external doing. You know, and when I reflect on, you know, bits and pieces that I've seen Moya talk about, and Sadhguru and many others, they're always saying, you know, the way out is within.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, maybe that's what the doing is all about. And I guess in one sense, that's kind of what Elytra have been saying anyway, haven't they? It's like, you know, understand the internal workings, you know. So
yeah. But they do talk a lot about doing stuff out there, which I think it also has its place, you know. And you preceded this these thoughts with you know, what do we do? What is the decision? Now, if you take somebody like Elon Musk, okay, and Jeff Bezos, they are of the opinion, okay, that we mustn't wait too long because the time will escape us that we can get our civilization saved on other planets, okay, outside. The windows, he said, particularly Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos now is saying, you know, he's going to put up a space station, okay, but it's going to be a commercial space station, okay, so people can go there and do business in space, okay, and as they advance, they'll be doing business in space, not only on Earth, but they'll be able to continue doing their Earth business because it will be in a low orbit of Earth. And Elon is saying, you know, let's get to another planet, okay? And Mars is just the starting point, okay? let's have humanity here, let's get some sort of civilization going here. In case, says Elon Musk, in case the ultimate happens and the earth is destroyed through whatever sort of catastrophe. And he says, we're exposed to all sorts of things happening right now. People must now, really quickly, because we don't know how long the window is going to stay open for us to get off and out. Okay, so you've got those attitudes as well. And I mean, I don't go along with it, okay? Because there will be Armageddon at some stage in the future. It's still many, many, many years away. And most of it has been brought forward now quite a lot by man's behavior. And he was quite shocked too about what's happening on Earth. Recently, just gave a podcast. I think I mentioned it to you on Sunday. And so for me, it's not about getting to outer space. It's about what you said, okay? It's about each of us finding a solution inwardly and having that light, even though we may not be a Nelson Mandela or a Jesus Christ, we need to be who we are to generate light, okay? So how do we do that? We do nothing. Okay. You and I know what that means from our discussions, but we do nothing. Okay, we get on with our life and allow ourselves to be part and parcel of the neuter spirit of God. Okay, and so we can read about it. We can do maybe some sort of practicing about it, but just knowing that when the opportunity comes to us, yes, one of the biggest love aspects is to help other people, and God will give us that opportunity at some point, but don't go out and find it. Okay, so that's my thought on the subject.
Well, and I wholeheartedly concur. Like it's for the divine, to be expressed through us, then we need to be, the radio needs to be finely tuned. Otherwise, you get a lot of static.
Yeah. But also there are other influences that, particularly for you and I, because we're in the end of a 9-year cycle. Okay. I haven't done anything more before you ask.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
I just being aware of it is quite interesting. But when I'm in pain, it's a bit difficult to explore some of these areas. And so I think that we as individuals, you and I, are going to play a significant part without anybody's knowledge. Okay, and nobody needs to know what we're doing. Okay,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's what is happening and is going to happen, and that's going to be white. We're going to be fighting with white. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you apply the Plumstead methodology and say, why would we want to do that? Well, the answer is obvious, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Answer is obvious. Okay. And it's powerful, it's eternal, and it'll always be with us. It will certainly help us as as far as karma in various circumstances or countries or whatever as well. So I'm very comfortable with the discussion we've just had. Okay.
Oh, me too. It
Yeah. Yeah.
reinforces and reaffirms a lot, and
Mm. Yeah.
and underscores the importance of these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, I'm just so grateful to have you in my life. You know,
Yeah,
it's
and vice versa.
super.
Vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Well,
absolutely. It's
yeah.
you're a rare person, Michael. Certainly are.
Yeah. But so are you. Okay. And I think it's probably a good place to end off. I think. Are you comfortable, or you got some?
Yeah, absolutely. Go and put your feet up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I want to go and massage again, and maybe get some more pain pads and put them on the back of my neck now. That's what I'm going to try and do. And
Or
see
just
what
start with one and see how one
Yeah,
goes. Yeah.
yeah. But I've got to decide whether it's going to be the left or the right, or a little bit lower down, hopefully to get them both.
Or just in the center.
Yeah, or just in the center. There we are. There we are. Done. Okay.
Take the middle path.
I'll take the Newton middle path. Okay. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, well, I hope you're feeling better, and
Thank you.
I'll talk to
Yep.
you in a couple of days. Huh? Okay.
Yep. Sunday. Cheers, man.
Take care. Okay.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye.